Want to speak real Hebrew from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at HebrewPod101.com.
Hi everybody, Edith here. Welcome to Hebrew Top Words. Today we're going to talk about 10 ways to remember Hebrew words. אני לומדת על השורשים של מילים ואיך מילים שונות קשורות אחת לשנייה. I learn about the roots of the words and how different words are related to each other. אני לומדת על השורשים של מילים ואיך מילים שונות קשורות אחת לשנייה. I learn about the roots of the words and how different words are related to each other. In Hebrew, we have something called a root system. Words from similar fields of concept or from similar source would have a lot of basics, the same basic consonants. So for instance, the word airplane is matos, and the word flight is tisa, and the word for the verb flying is latus. So you can hear there are slight changes in the words, and sometimes it's a verb and sometimes it's a noun, but those two letters of t and s are still there, and that kind of makes it easier to remember. אני מדברת כמה שאני יכולה עם דוברי שפת אם של השפה. I speak as often as possible with native speakers. אני מדברת כמה שאני יכולה עם דוברי שפת אם של השפה. I speak as often as possible with native speakers of the language. This is very important because native speakers can, fix your little mistakes and your little bugs and maybe teach you some new words or some modern words or some slang that you might not learn otherwise, especially some rough slang. And that makes your Hebrew speaking much more natural than just studying it from a book or from a teacher. אני מנסה להשתמש במילה חדשה במשפט פשוט, כך שאני לומדת משפטים שלמים, ולא רק מילים בודדות. I try to use the new word in a simple sentence, so I learn whole phrases, not just individual words. אני מנסה להשתמש במילה חדשה במשפט פשוט, כך שאני לומדת משפט שלם ולא רק מילה בודדת. I try to use the new word in a simple sentence, so I study a whole phrase and not just an individual word. When you just learn a word, you might not be able to actually use it when you want to, when you find the need to use that word, even though you know it somewhere in the back of your head. But when you create like a situation in your mind in which you will use this word, or a phrase that's very, very useful for that specific word, then you kind of have it more handy in your memory to pull it out whenever you actually need to. אני מנסה לחשוב בעברית, כך שזה יעשה טבעי לתהליך החשיבה שלי. I try to think in Hebrew so it becomes natural to my thought process. אני מנסה לחשוב בעברית, כך שזה יעשה טבעי לתהליך החשיבה שלי. I try to think in Hebrew so it becomes a natural part of my thinking process. I remember years ago when I just studied English and I was just a little girl, all of a sudden I found myself like thinking in English and dreaming in English, and that's a really important thing to do also, because when you think it, you can speak it. If you don't think before you speak, then nothing is going to come out. It's going to come out very If you think about stuff, not just before you're speaking, but just in general, making conversations in your head, that would really help you use it in a very, very fluent way. אני מקשיבה לשירים ומשננת את המילים. I listen to songs and memorize the lyrics. אני מקשיבה לשירים ומשננת את המילים. I listen to songs and memorize the lyrics. This is like one of my favorite ways to actually learn new language and learn new vocabulary and new sentences. It's just a fun way, and there's something about a song that you won't forget so easily, like just speaking. It's a song, it's stuck in your head and you want to sing it. It comes like from somewhere in your soul. And when you memorize the word, which is something that I love doing, I love knowing the lyrics of songs, then it just makes you feel like so much more comfortable. And I did that with French, and I actually did that with German too. And I studied quite a bit of German just from German music. So that's kind of fun. אני מקשרת מילים חדשות עם מילים שנשמעות דומה בשפת האם שלי. I associate new words with words that sound similar in my native language. אני מקשרת מילים חדשות עם מילים שנשמעות דומה בשפת האם שלי. I associate new words with similar sounding words in my own native language. So this is also a good way to remember individual words, and to be honest, it kind of sometimes create really funny situations or very funny associations. It's really, really good, because if something makes you laugh, you're not going to forget it. If something makes you smile, you're going to remember it better than just something that you repeated over and over. אני משתמשת בחזרות, קוראת, כותבת, וחוזרת על מילים שוב ושוב. I use repetition, reading, writing, and speaking words over and over again. אני משתמשת בחזרות, קוראת, כותבת, וחוזרת על מילים שוב ושוב. I use repetition, reading, writing, and speaking words over and over again. So sometimes, you can't escape it. That's something that you just kind of have to do, You have to keep repeating stuff to memorize them, to remember them, especially when it comes to grammar. Sometimes there's no other way, and repeating is the best way to do it, I guess. אני צופה בתוכניות טלוויזיה וסרטים מישראל בשביל להיחשף לאוצר מילים יומיומי ולקצב דיבור טבעי. I watch Israeli TV shows and movies with English subtitles to expose myself to everyday vocabulary and a natural speaking flow. אני צופה בתוכניות טלוויזיה וסרטים מישראל בשביל להיחשף לאוצר מילים יומיומי ולקצב דיבור טבעי. I watch Israeli TV shows and movies to expose myself to daily vocabulary and a natural speaking flow. This is how I studied English. What I studied in school hardly even helped me. I used to watch English TV all the time with Hebrew subtitles, and now I'm doing the same with a different language as well. So it's really important just watching TV, because when people are going to speak with you and they see, oh, this is not your native language and maybe you're struggling, they might dumb down the way they speak to you and speak slower in very simple words. But when you're watching TV, you're seeing how people actually speak. And then you also have the opportunity to see the translation below, and you can compare what they're saying with what you're reading and what you know already. And quite quickly you would expand your vocabulary and significantly improve the naturality of your speaking. אני מנסה לקרוא ספרים פשוטים בעברית ולתרגל קריאה ללא ניקוד בשביל לשפר את יכולות הקריאה שלי. I try to read simple books in Hebrew and practice reading without nikud to improve my reading ability. אני מנסה לקרוא ספרים פשוטים בעברית ולתרגל קריאה ללא ניקוד בשביל לשפר את יכולות הקריאה שלי. I try to read simple books in Hebrew and also practice reading without nikud to improve my reading ability. So, reading without nikud is something that you really have to practice, and to be honest, most places you will go, there won't be any nikud at all. People use nikud today for kids' books and poetry books, even if it's simple poetry, high poetry, they always use nikud no matter what. But in regular books and street signs and menus, you will never see it. As much as you can, try reading without it, and starting with nikud, slowly progressing to books without it. That's something that's really important, because otherwise you'll always find yourself struggling reading stuff around you. אני לומדת עברית עם HebrewPod101.com בשביל ללמוד משפטים מודרניים בעברית עם מילים שימושיות ליום-יום. I learn Hebrew with HebrewPod101.com to learn modern phrases and actual usable words. אני לומדת עברית עם HebrewPod101.com בשביל ללמוד משפטים מודרניים בעברית עם מילים שימושיות ליום-יום. I learn Hebrew with HebrewPod101.com to learn modern phrases and actual usable words. So yeah, HebrewPod gives you the opportunity to listen to how Israeli people actually speak and what they actually say, whereas if you study in a classroom or from a textbook, most often some of the words and phrases there would be kind of archaic and not something that people really use. So when you talk to people, they would know, oh yeah, he studied in an ulpan, he studied in from a textbook. And if you sound more naturally and you speak in more modern phrases, they would think, oh yeah, this guy has been living here, he's talking to Israeli people, he knows some stuff. So HebrewPod 101, really good way to study. Thank you very much. Goodbye.